Hello, everybody, and welcome to this AFC South Show 137 here on Curtis's Podcast Network. I'm the host of the channel. My name is Curtis Brown. And with me, as always, our resident Jaguars fan, Isaiah Michelli, a.k.a. Duval's finest, a.k.a. the Glitter Kitty Conqueror. With us, as well as our resident Colts fan, speak softly and carry a big steck, Jeffrey Steckel. And then with us from Houston football, former ESPN radio host, check out his YouTube channel, Cody Stoots. Pleasure to have you on, brother, again.
Yeah, excited to be on and chop it up with you guys.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. Before we get directly into it, got a little bit of housekeeping. We're at 418 subscribers. Like to see that grow. 420 is the next fun goal, but 1,000 for obvious money reasons. 35 like goal on this episode. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. Go ahead, take some time out of your day. Go to HoustonFootball.com. Check it out. That is Cody's website. He does great Texans content on there. So if you're a Texans fan, you found the guy. I mean, he's at practice. He's at the press conferences. He's the dude. So let's get into it. Jags, Titans. Jags are favored by 3.5. And the over-under is 40.5. Isaiah, let's hear about your glitter kitties.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected us to be favored by a little bit more. I think there's still a little bit of concern about Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, he's limited in practice, so we all know at this point if he can drag himself onto the field in practice during the week, he's going to play during the game. ETN had a big week last week. O-line definitely looked a lot better with Cam Robinson in. You put a little nasty back in the lineup, and people can start moving guys around. Tyler Shatley came in and played. I mean, Clemson guy. He's been in the league for 6-7 years now, on Jacksonville for most of it, if not all of it. We just can't seem to get rid of that guy. But, I mean, he does work when we put him in, so it is what it is. Coming into this week, Josh Allen, he is currently back by half a sack right now on TJ Watt, the current sack leader. Had a really good year out of him. I mean, honestly, I don't know that I see the Titans scoring a lot of points in this game, just depending on who they actually end up fielding. As of right now, do we know if Levis is coming back or if it's going to be Tannehill again?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Let me pull up their injury report.
I haven't heard any news on it whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, no matter who's out there, I mean, Tannehill did not look good when he was playing. Levis, of course, got hurt. That's another injury for him behind a broken O-line that just continues to put him on the ground whenever he's actually looked pretty decent in a couple of games this year. I just don't know that if they field a Ryan Tannehill-centered offense that they're really going to be pushing the ball to D-Hop and those guys on the outside. Jacksonville's defense played really well last week against a broken O-line in the Panthers. And I think it could be a very similar looking game this week. Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker both with multiple sacks with a little bit of push from the interior D-line. Finally, I saw a metric. We are actually, I think, 31st in D-line pass rush, interior D-line pass rush win weight at 10.2%. So we are winning 1 out of every 10 reps against the offensive line on the interior for pass rush, which is abysmal, terrible. The only team that was worse than us was at 8.7, which is probably one of the worst in history, if I had to guess. So, it's been bad. It hurts when you have guys like Trayvon Walker I think he has 40 or 50 pressures this season. He's looked good off the edge, but whenever the quarterback can just walk up the middle, it doesn't help. Hopefully they can get a good push on the interior again. But yeah, I don't see him doing much. I think Foye Oluokun and Darius Williams are going to be playing out of their mind. That people say that the Pro Bowl doesn't matter. I think it doesn't, but I think players take pride in it. And the fact that they did not make it whenever, Zaire Franklin should have made it for sure. But it's just a popularity contest where Foye Oluokun is 4 tackles back on the tackle leader, has forced fumbles, has an interception for a touchdown. And he's an alternate, and Darius Williams has been one of the best outside corners in the league this year, and he also is an alternate. Christian Kirk potentially is coming back. I don't want to see him back. I'd prefer to rest him for week 1 of the playoffs, the wild card round. But if Trevor and Christian Kirk are both playing, we've got that offensive line backing good with Cam Robinson. I just think it's going to be a nasty week for the Titans, and they're going to have to really deal with a lot of players all over the field. If I had to go with a prediction on this one, I think it's going to look similar to the game in Music City last year. I would say like 30, maybe like 34 to 34-14, 34-10, somewhere in there.
Okay. I'll put 10. I'll put 34-10.
If Trevor's playing.
Yeah. Will Levis is questionable as of right now.
Okay, question.
So I would assume that means Ryan Tannehill because they definitely experimented. All they're going to experiment with.
I don't feel like there's any need to put Levis out there and risk him hurting himself again with this game. As much as they would love to ruin our season, risking hurting a rookie quarterback again for like the fourth time this season, is just not a good look for them. But I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah, for one, I mean, I don't think they're actually going to, but I think I put the Titans to win, just to be a homer. I don't know. I don't think they're actually going to win the game, but it would be nice, kind of have the Titans play spoiler, kind of screw them like the Jacksonville Jaguars did to us during that what was that Carson Wentz season?
Oh yeah, last game of the season.
Yeah, that was horrible. So it'd be nice to get a little bit of payback, but I don't think it's actually going to happen. But I will go with I'll stay with the Titans. I know I'm probably the only one anywhere saying the Titans are going to win, so I'll go with it. If they can get Derrick Henry rolling, that's if they even bother playing him. But yeah, I'd like to see him win. I'll go, and it would have to be a low score if that happens. So I'd say probably something like 20-17. I'll go with the Titans.
The Jags and the Texans have been playing Derrick Henry really well the past couple times they've played him.
Yeah.
I don't see that changing, but
he's had the worst offensive line I think he's ever his entire playing career.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some times where he's actually broken away and it looks like he's not able to get that top gear like he used to have. So it's probably a combination of both those things, but even still.
Even that 2,000-yard season, I mean, that offensive line was like bottom 5, bottom 10, and he's saying that. I mean, this offensive line just must be really awful. Just watching it because, I mean,
it's pretty bad. Cody?
I just don't see how the Titans are going to win this game. I mean, I know my Colts guy here is rooting for the same thing I'm rooting for, is the Titans to lose that one, depending on how Saturday night shakes out for each of us, but I just don't see how the Titans are going to have enough. I mean, Vrabel's at the microphone this week, and he talks about how much it bleeping sucks to lose. And it's like, maybe there's a last gasp from this Titans team. But I really think that Monday Night Football win over the Dolphins, if you guys are familiar with it's a stock term. I use it in football a lot. It's called a dead cat bounce. It's like right before a company goes bankrupt, they shoot up real quick, but then they go, down, and then it's over. Yeah. That was Monday Night Football against the Dolphins. That was the dead Titan bounce. Like, they shot up for a second. Okay, they got a little life to it, and then boom, they lose out to finish the season pretty much. I just don't see they don't have the juice. They don't have the juice on defense. They don't have the juice on offense. They can't protect the quarterback. They can't run the football well. I don't see how the Jaguars lose this one. So I'll say Jacksonville, 27, Titans 3. Just take the foot off the gas, back up in, get Lawrence a little early rest.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I think it's going to be something similar to what we saw last week with the Panthers and the Jags. I don't foresee Ryan Tannehill having an easy day of it if it is Ryan Tannehill. Will Levis, I mean, if for the glimpses that we've seen of the flashes, I mean, he's looked good at times and then just abysmal at others. The Titans want this as a pride game. I don't necessarily have them winning that on pride. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have much more on the line. And if Trevor Lawrence plays, then there's absolutely zero shot. I'm going to go. I think this game will probably be determined by halftime, but I'm gonna say 31-0. Yeah, that's how little faith I have in the Titans offense to do anything.
One thing I will say real quick for all those Aiden Hutchinson garglers out there, shut up. He came in as the generational pass rushing prospect, whatever, and Trayvon Walker was a bust, and we whatever. Yeah, well, one of them has more sacks than the other one. One of them said wouldn't even be halfway decent until his third season. He's progressing really well. Trayvon Walker's our guy. Every single week, stop posting Aiden Hutchinson stats. Nobody cares. We didn't draft him. Trayvon Walker's developing nicely. He's a better run defender than Aiden Hutchinson at the end of the day, and now he's getting just as many sacks as him without having the quarterback walk right into him. So let's relax on the Aiden Hutchinson BS and let's move on.
Ooh, I don't know about that, man. As covering the Texans, I thank the good Lord every day that Aiden Hutchinson's not in this division.
Hey, that's fine. I watch him 3 to 5 times a year. The past 2 years, just a quarterback just runs straight into his arms, and he gives him a nice embrace to the ground. But I'm not saying I would not saying I wouldn't have been happy if we got him. But I think that Trayvon's showing that he's developing really well. Where Aiden's just kind of the same thing he was in his rookie year, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Any more Colts or shit? Any more Jags Titans comments?
And the end.
Fuck the Titans. Yep, fuck the Titans.
Jesus.
Titans.
Jesus.
Literally, we had a Twitter train earlier for the Jags Nation. We had some dude said it, and then everybody kept repost, commenting just in a train. There was 10 in a row that I commented on. I'm sure there's more now.
Jags Nation out here, degenerate style. All right. Well, let's get into the primetime AFC South game Saturday night. Houston traveling to Indianapolis. We've got 2 Texans people, so let's let Jeff go first.
Oh,
Ganging up on him. I got you, Jeff.
Finally talking some playoff football, man. It's exciting. This was a team that was supposed to win, 4 to 6 games. I think some even had the Colts at 3. So it's pretty wild that we're sitting here talking about playoffs. So it's exciting. After the Carson Wentz failed experiment and then the Matt Ryan debacle, it's nice to be here. It's nice to see this team playing some meaningful football in January. Also kind of run down injury report for the Colts. It doesn't look too bad. Looked like DeForest Buckner hasn't participated, but apparently it's just rest. Tyquan Lewis, Braden Smith, Zach Moss, and Kenny Moore were all full participants, so I'm not. It'll be not. I think. Yeah, Kenny Moore didn't play last week. He'll be a much needed boost for the Colts secondary. Zach Moss was obviously had a great campaign before his forearm injury. So he's a nice 1-2 punch with Jonathan Taylor. It looks like he's definitely trending to play. The only one that really concerns me, it looks like both Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly were limited, but I think they're both with ankle injuries. So hopefully they'll be good to go because that's kind of the heart of their offensive line. But the Colts need to do pretty much exactly what they did against the Raiders. They got to run the ball. A couple of big plays sprinkled in, but I think this game for either team is going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be whoever runs the ball the best. It's going to be whoever controls the clock the most. But I like, especially if Kelly and Quentin Nelson go, I really like the Colts line against the Texans defensive front, and I like the Colts defensive front against the Texans offensive line. I think they match up really well against them. So they just gotta maintain possession. They gotta run the ball, and they have to get after CJ Stroud. They have to get after him. They did really good in the first meeting. It was scoreboard said 11 points, but I think it was a little bit more of a beatdown than that, in my opinion. I'm not saying it'll be anything like that again, but both of these teams, they're playing with so much, a lot of passion, a lot of heart. I love what DeMeco Ryans has done in Houston. I think he was my first choice, when the Colts were searching. But I'm really happy with Shane Steichen. I love where he has this team. I think kind of across the board, except right now, maybe at the quarterback position, I really like how the Colts look against the Texans. So I think I'm gonna say Matt Gay. Matt Gay punches the Colts tickets to the playoffs with a game winner. I'm gonna call it 26-24.
Yeah, fellow Colts fan.
Yeah. Well, you got a jersey, you got a wardrobe change.
My
Vegas
dogs were barking.
showcase.
Yeah, my dogs were barking. I had to go take care of it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Eras tour up here changing outfits.
I couldn't let y'all gang up on my boy Hefe over here. I had to come out here and represent 2-on-2 style, Zaire Franklin and such. Woo!
Yeah, man. Oh, and what a snub, man. Fucking alternate. Come on, dude. Like him and Buckner both alternate. Like one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And like,
did you see who the two that made it were? They were both on the Ravens. It's a popularity contest. It's all that matters.
Yeah, garbage.
Hey, just don't worry though. When the Ravens get to the Super Bowl, Zaire Franklin and Foye Oluokun will be going for it. So,
yeah, Colts already beat Baltimore once. We play them again.
Ravens are going to do what they do, and they're just going to lose in the playoffs. Joe Flacco is going to knock them out after they kick our ticket.
How awesome would that be?
All right, Isaiah, if you're wearing the jersey, you got to say something nice about the Colts. Let's talk about it.
I said Zaire Franklin. Woo!
All right. You got any Colts Texans then?
I like CJ Stroud, but I think that because I'm wearing this jersey, I have to say that Gus Bradley definitely is a great defensive coordinator and is going to get a lot of sacks in this game and will send lots of pressure. Yeah, I mean, the Texans' offensive line has looked really good this season in moments, and other moments they haven't. This honestly with this big front seven that the Colts have, and this big D line, this could be the week where they don't look so good. Again, they've got some good guys, Buckner, Autry. They're wreaking havoc in the backfields, even without getting extra help from the linebackers and safeties and getting alternate blitzes. But it's going to be a tough one. I think that the Colts defense has been flying around these past couple of weeks. They've looked like one of the best defenses in the league here lately. And I really just think that this could be the game where Gardner Minshew doesn't have to do much, and they kind of run the ball, and they're able to really just stop this Texans offense. It's going to be tough though with CJ Stroud being back. It's hard to hold him to a low stats. He's a monster out there. So it does help that Tank Dell's not around. I think he was last time, wasn't he? Or did he already get hurt by the time he played the Colts?
No, he was
yeah, that's what I thought. So, and that definitely hurts the Texans against the division opponent again. Big loss there, but I think they've got some other guys that can step up and play. But I do see the Colts winning this one. Unfortunately, I don't like the Colts. I just like Andrew Luck. He's a cool dude. He had a neck beard, my kind of guy. No, it's gonna be an interesting one. But I don't really know. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think I could see it being high scoring though. Maybe like a 27-24. Colts win. But I could see it going either way. Honestly, in this one, it's a really good matchup.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to add to what you were talking about with the secondary. Like Juju Brents on Devontae Adams did a phenomenal job, and I don't think any of the Texans receiver are kind of on that level. Devontae Adams had a good day, but when he was matched up with Juju Brents, he I think it was 8 targets, 4 receptions for 48 yards or something like that. So
that's a
very mediocre. So I think all of his yards came against like Jalen Jones, which is kind of unfair to ask of Jalen to go up against Devontae. But I do like how this young secondary has progressed. But I hope Gus Bradley sends just a little bit more pressure than he usually does, which is almost none.
Yeah. I was actually watching Cody's live stream the other night, and somebody had brought it up that the Colts don't send a lot of pressure. And what was the number? Do you remember their percentage?
Lowest in football,
like 17% or something.
Yeah, lowest in football. That used to be the Jets. So the Jets used to lead in that percentage, but the Colts have overtaken them. So lowest blitz percentage in football. So they just let that defensive line eat, and it's really impressive to watch.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to dive on the Texans first, or?
I'll fire away. Look, I really don't care about the first matchup. That's the second game of the season. The Texans hadn't had an offensive line that had really played together because they had moving parts and injuries and stuff like that. Now, it's still not a great offensive line, but at least these guys have played together for a few weeks now at that standpoint. And I care really about the last month or so when I look at the Colts. And I just look at the 2 games they lost in the past month, and it's like those games they didn't run the ball well and they didn't stop the run. And so trenches conversation from earlier, like that's where it is again. Like if the Colts aren't running the football, Gardner Minshew's not winning a shootout against CJ Stroud. I know Stroud's not got Dell. He's been gone for a few weeks. Robert Woods is hobbled coming into this one with a hip injury. No Noah Brown in this matchup. I understand that, but the Texans have been able to gimmick this thing together on offense a couple different times. So still got Nico, still got Dalton Schultz. They've thrown the ball to the running backs a little bit more in the past few weeks as well. So I'm scared of Jonathan Taylor just because I respect what he is. It felt like the old Jonathan Taylor last week watching him play. And so, yes, the Texans have a really good run defense, 3rd in football, but I don't know that you're stopping Jonathan Taylor. Like you could slow him down a little bit, but you're not going to stop him like you did to Derrick Henry a couple of times here in the past month or so. So from that standpoint, like, yeah, I think the Colts are going to be able to run the football a little bit. Are the Texans going to be able to run the football? That's my big question for them. If they can run the football with Devin Singletary, they're going to take care of the Colts in pretty good fashion. I mean, the Texans play close games because they're the cardiac Texans. That's what they do. But if they run the football well, that sets everything up for CJ Stroud and they get some things going. I don't love some of the matchups, like, having to defend Pittman and Pierce and Downs. Like there's a lot going on there, but they've got some really good play out of their slot corner, Desmond King, who they brought in the middle of the year, who was with them in training camp. They cut, he bounced around, they brought him in, and he's actually played the best slot corner of the season for them. And then Steven Nelson kind of banged up, but he's ready to go. And then Derek Stingley's, he's awesome at corner. So, him and Pittman's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be up to those guys to make sure Pierce doesn't get deep, because Jalen Petrie, the safety for the Texans, he will let a dude get right behind him. And then it's, a huge play or a touchdown. It's happened multiple times throughout the season. I like the Texans in this one because when I go through and I start putting data points for the Colts and start putting data points for the Texans, I can't get over the fact that I just trust CJ Stroud a lot more than I trust Gardner Minshew. And D'Amico Ryan's second crack at Gardner Minshew after actually getting to prepare for Minshew. Not that preparing for Anthony Richardson did him a damn thing. Richardson had that thing up 14-0 before anybody could blink in the first matchup. But I just like the Texans in this matchup. I like it close, like everybody else has said, just because the Texans only play close games if they're going to win. So I like this one probably somewhere in the 20s, like you guys said. I think probably 23-20 is probably something like that. A lot of red zone issues for the Texans, so I don't know they're putting a ton of touchdowns on, but I'll go 23-20 Texans.
Okay. That's fair. Since 2021, the Houston Texans are 7-1 on the road in division games, which is kind of a weird thing. But in that same stretch, we're just abysmal at home. I don't necessarily give much credence to that stat in the fact of, like, I don't think it's going to be the differentiating factor in this game. But that's kind of interesting. For as bad as the team has been in the past couple of years, we've still only lost one road division game, that being against the Colts. That was the last 31-0 game or whatever in Davis Mills' rookie year. I like the Texans in this game, and I like it simply because, another wardrobe change. Very nice.
Back to the original,
Next, I hope he's just in the full red bush.
I think the game plan is simply to make Gardner Minshew beat you. And it's not going to be easy to do. I mean, that entails stopping the run game, and the Colts run game lately has been everything that they needed it to be. Jonathan Taylor's played well. Trey Sermon's come off the bench and played well. What is Goodson? Is it Mike Goodson? He even in spots, Mike Goodson has come in and looked well. So, I mean, it's a tall task, but this is a different run defense than we saw week one. These are guys that are playing a lot better than I anticipated to start the year. I was worried we didn't make enough moves to make such an improvement in the run stopping department. And here we are sitting in the top 5 in run defense. I believe that if we can get Gardner Minshew to 35-plus passes, that almost ensures a victory for the Texans, because that means it's a shootout, and the Texans love those. Score prediction. As much as I'd love to say that the Texans just kind of walk away with this one,
That's not what they do.
not at all. I'm going to go 28 or 31-28. Kaimi Fairbairn with a walk-off. I just don't in games like this, division opponent, playoffs on the line. It's essentially playoffs already, because you win, you keep going, you lose, you go home. This is going to be a scrappy game. I would expect some fights. I would expect a lot of tension. I would expect a lot of big plays, honestly. Dudes are going to be trying their absolute best. This is going to be must-see football. I am very glad it's going to be prime time. Already switched some shifts around so that I can actually end up being off and watching the game. So that'll be nice. That'll be nice. But, 31-28. The over-under on this game is 47.5 points. And the Texans are favored by 1.5, which, I mean, kind of interesting. Who do you think has to have the bigger game, John Mechie or Steven Nelson?
Alec Pierce. No, I'm sorry.
If you're betting on John Mechie to have a big game,
I'm not. I'm not betting on it. But
if you're relying on John Mechie to take care of you, it's going to be disappointing. Mechie hasn't played very well this season. When he has played, he hasn't played very much.
Yeah.
Bunch of drops in the past couple of games. So, if they're throwing the ball to John Mechie, either it clicked for him and it's going awesome, or something's gone horribly wrong with some of their other wide receivers.
Yeah.
You just can't trust John Mechie right now. And, Nelson started the season one of the best players on the team, kind of gotten roughed up a little bit the past couple of weeks, but he's still a really good player. So, I'd lean on Nelson. If this offense got to lean on John Mechie, then figure out where the Texans are going on vacation.
Damn. Very well said. Okay. You guys got any rebuttals or anything?
I will say, I've been to a few games in Lucas Oil Stadium, and the fans have a tendency to not be as loud as they need to be. Like this is a playoff atmosphere. The people that go to this game, y'all better get loud. They talk about the 12th man. We're talking playoffs, man. Get loud. Get. I don't want to say get hostile, but make CJ Stroud earn this. Make him earn it. Don't just sit there and sit down and crickets chirping while they're on offense. Get loud.
Yeah.
Get loud.
Yeah.
Because there are times where it's like you can hear the people across the stadium when the other team's on offense. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
Make some energy, man.
Houston's just had issues getting people in the stands.
I mean, it could be worse. Did you see Buffalo roughly holds 52% of the tickets to the Miami game in Miami?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Boys, we got any closing comments? I think we're pretty much at an end here.
Well, it's going to be nice to be AFC South champions if the Titans take care of business.
Yeah.
That's wishful thinking there.
It's weird because all these teams are sort of set up to face one of the two teams that nobody really wants to face in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, if you end up as the 7th seed, you're probably facing Buffalo, and they're as hot as bacon grease right now. And then if you're the 4 seed, you're the AFC South champions. Big Bad Flacco's coming to town, and I'm not worried necessarily about him. It's just that defense is nasty. And Myles Garrett with a couple weeks to get healthy, the sacks haven't been coming since he had the shoulder injury, but the pressures are still there.
Back at Cleveland after that bullshit. I'm still bitter about that goal. I want back at Cleveland.
They're just they got it figured out, man. Ward's awesome in their secondary. They got some linebackers that play really well. I mean, basically the two teams from the AFC South that are making this thing, they're facing the two hottest teams in the AFC side of the playoffs, and it's rough.
All right. Yeah. I don't want to play the Browns. That defense is something fierce, bro. God bless.
Got to root for the tie. And Bills.
Tie.
You got to root for the tie and Bills Dolphins, so that you get the Dolphins as the 2 seed, and and then you get the 7 seed gets the Dolphins, which is still tough,
Yeah,
still tough. When you make the playoffs, there's no schmucks this year. Last year Miami with the backup QB was kind of a schmuck team. There's no schmucks in the playoffs this year.
There could be a schmuck in the playoffs this year. The Ravens are starting Tyler Huntley. If you guys, for some reason, somehow tied and the Pittsburgh Steelers win, they get in over both of y'all. And that would that'd be the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah, that would be disgusting.
The Dolphins would drop like 7.
Don't put it past the Colts and Texans to tie. I'm just saying.
Yeah, man, that's a great point.
Just saying, it's happened before.
Oh, that would be awful.
That would be horrible.
Nobody wants to watch Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
No, nobody wants to watch Pittsburgh at all, not even Pittsburgh fans.
That's right. These days, that is true.
You come full circle back to Mason Rudolph. I mean, there's not anything positive happening in Pittsburgh, other than the fact Mike Tomlin is pulling it out of his ass every weekend. But all right, well, I think we've come to a good spot to wrap it up. Cody, I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us. Isaiah, Big Stack, thanks for joining me as well. Folks, thank you for watching. Go ahead and check out Cody Stoots on YouTube. Like, subscribe to his channel. Go check out HoustonFootball.com, his website. He goes to practice. He's at press conferences. He does all sorts of stuff covering the Texans. Please follow this man. And also be good people. Peace.
Go Colts.
We are Texans.